Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag, and it's just lovely to have you along for the ride as the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys 34-6. Good Lord. You know, I always talk about these games where you go up against far inferior opponents and you say, hey, you know what? Go out there and prove it. Go prove that you're that much better. Don't squeak out a win. Don't find a way to win. Oh, divisional games. And I even say this, so I mock myself. Divisional games can be weird. They beat the Giants 28-6, 28-3. They go out, they play the Dallas Cowboys, and they beat them 24-6, or excuse me, 34-6. Those are divisional games. It's the only divisional games the Eagles have played. In one instance, they played the starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, who's not very good at football. Then they played Cooper Rush, who was 5-1 as a starter and is now 0-2 against the Eagles as a starter. Wah, wah. So it was a pretty good day, and the Eagles blew them out. There was one little piece of adversity in the early goings of that game, but unfortunately, an old-time Cowboy, Ezekiel Elliott, coughed it up thanks to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Zach Bond. The thing I absolutely loved about this game, most importantly, as we went into the game on Friday, I said the goal of this game is to be so in control that you can rest your starters in the fourth quarter, being that you play again Thursday against the Washington Commanders in what will be most likely your toughest test of the season. I didn't expect that against the Bucs, and the Bucs handed the Eagles their ass. And I didn't expect that. I expected it against the Packers, and the Eagles won that game. Now you got the Commanders, who all of a sudden become the toast of the NFC, and you have that quickly. Ray Didinger was on the pre- and post-game show with Seth Joyner, Derek Gunn, and myself, and Ray called Thursday night games an abomination, and I couldn't think of a more appropriate word. It's exactly what it is, an abomination. But the Eagles put themselves in the best possible position that they could be in, not having to play their starters in the fourth quarter. They put themselves in the best possible position they could be in before playing that game Thursday night. And let's talk about the logistics for a second before we get into this game, because this is just driving me crazy. And we knew this going in, but the Eagles probably didn't get in their own beds until 3:30 in the morning. So that's 3.5 hours ago from right now. The Eagles probably just got back, got into their beds. They already got on the plane. They're on the plane, of course. They're already having their meetings on the plane. And now they got to turn around after not such a great night of sleep. And they're not going to do anything today. Then they got Tuesday. Then they got Wednesday. And then they're going to be back on their field Thursday. Now, at home, of course. But that is just BS. And the idea that the NFL goes back on this and goes, oh, we're just concerned about the player safety. We're all about player safety. This has got nothing to do with player safety. This is all about that money, and we all know that. I just want to make sure I acknowledge, before we get into the rest of this, what a heaping pile of crap this is. And the Eagles open up, by the way, 3.5-point favorites. So go out there against the Commanders and just make this thing not a problem. Somehow, magically, make it not a problem. As for the game itself, number of things jumped out at me. And I want to start it off with this. This was last week. Now, I didn't play this for you guys last week. But last week, Nakobe Dean was talking about the turnovers and how Eagles defense is forcing turnovers. And to me, that was the star of the show yesterday. The Eagles forcing turnovers. Jalen Hurts had 4 touchdowns. Ho-hum. Another multi-touchdown game for Jalen Hurts. Ho-hum. But 5 turnovers forced by this Eagles defense. Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean came up with interceptions last week against Jacksonville Jaguars. Bond helped get things in motion early in the game for the Eagles, while Nakobe Dean helped seal the deal for the Eagles. He sealed the deal for the Eagles against the Jaguars. So they were talking last week about the turnover battle and how the linebacker room is taking footballs and putting them in the linebacker room. Where they meet, they're keeping the turnover footballs. Here's Nakobe Dean on that before a 5-turnover game by this Eagles defense.
We was harping on taking the ball away and punching the ball out so much. I think we was in here. They had brought the ball in here like a Monday after the Cincinnati game. Zach was like, "Man, I'm just gonna take it in the linebacker room," and it just kind of stuck.
Does that get more motivation to kind of do
for sure? Because we see it, like now we seeing it every day. It's like now we like, who gonna get the most balls in the room? Literally.
So then they go out there and he caught himself. He's like, literally. Then they go out and they have a 5 turnover game against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a beautiful thing. This is an absolutely beautiful thing. Eagles got some sacks in that game. They got some turnovers in that game. Look, they did exactly what they were supposed to do against a Cooper Rush-led offense. And at times, Trey Lance. That was weird, but that's what happened. And they went out there and did exactly what they were supposed to do. 6 points, 5 turnovers. The question they were going around, I think it was Ashley Sullivan of NBC Sports Philly asking the question, is this the most dominant game you guys have had? I think that's without question, it's the biggest domination they've had. But they should have. They should have done this. But how many times, for those that want to say, oh, they were banged up, first of all, you beat Dallas, it's a great day. All right? It's a great day you beat Dallas. But when you beat them in the way that you did beat them yesterday, where you actually dangled a carrot, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but you dangled a little carrot in front of them with the Jalen Hurts turnovers. You let them believe for a second, and then you took their soul. It was wonderful. You did. How many times do we talk about these games, and we go, "Oh, they won, but they just scraped by." Like, look at last week against Jacksonville Jaguars. That game should not have been that close. That shouldn't have come down to Nakobe Dean having to get a last-second interception in the end zone to secure a win. They're a far better team than Jacksonville. It shouldn't have been that close, and yet there we were. They're a far better team than the Cooper Rush-led Dallas Cowboys. And they went out there and they had another almost 30-point. This was obviously a 20-point win, but they almost had a 30-point win in all this. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So looking at the defense, what they were able to do was fantastic. And Zach Bond coming up with some big plays there as well. I've said it before. Zach Bond is one of the biggest brags you can have as a coach. And Vic Fangio saw the few plays he made on the outside as a linebacker, obviously watched him as a special teamer in New Orleans, and said, that guy is going to be my inside linebacker. Him and Nakobe Dean are going to be my inside guys. And Bond was asked yesterday about the faith Vic Fangio had in him and how much or what that means to him as a player.
He had full trust in me and my abilities, and I think that really helped me with my transition as well. Just everybody wants to be wanted, and everyone wants to for someone to have a vision for them and a plan, and he definitely had that, and it feels really good.
How can it not? How can it not? And Bond went out there yesterday, helped get things going in the right direction when he helped force that fumble with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson of Ezekiel Elliott. When the Cowboys actually could have taken a lead. Good Lord. Can you imagine that? They're right there to make the play. And that's the way it was throughout the entire game. And when you have the turnovers early from Jalen Hurts and your defense responds the way they did, it's only gonna be a matter of time before your offense breaks it open. It's only going to be a matter of time before the defense steps up the way they did. It was absolutely fantastic watching that game yesterday. I liked a little bit of adversity with the turnovers that the Eagles or Jalen Hurts had, and then getting right back to it. There's a couple of things in this game that I want to make sure I get to. First off, in the first quarter, the Eagles forced them to go 3 and out, forced the Cowboys to go 3 and out. The Eagles then take back-to-back sacks. They were on their 40. They drove the 43-yard line. And then they went backwards thanks to sacks and I think one penalty as well. Maybe that was the Cam Jurgens penalty. Then Dallas gets the ball back. They unfortunately, Cooper Rush comes up with the fumble. He looked away before he even had the ball in his hands from the snap. Milton Williams is able to pick that one up. Eagles end up getting the tush-push touchdown from Jalen Hurts. He had a nice play there by Saquon Barkley in the flat, got 12 yards out of it, spinning and making plays. Eagles go up 7-0. Dallas then responds by getting a big return. They go downfield, 9 plays, 32 yards, 3 minutes, 55 seconds. They kick a field goal to make it 7-3, so the Eagles defense stood pat there. Then A.J. Brown comes up with a nice 30-plus yard reception for the Eagles to help end the first quarter. It ended at 7-3. Then in the unfortunate red zone play, Jalen Hurts goes up there and has Dallas Goedert. Now, I'm watching this play. They finally give you the sky cam over Jalen Hurts' shoulder. And you can see Dallas Goedert going straight up the field, open, wide open. But then you remember Trayvon Diggs, when healthy and playing, is very good at football. And Jalen Hurts, I think, did what a lot of quarterbacks would do. And I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying if you're going to get intercepted, you might as well get intercepted by Trayvon Diggs, who picks off everybody. So Hurts puts the ball out there, and Trayvon Diggs, it felt like he was baiting him. It felt like Trayvon Diggs did what he always does, which is just, yeah, this guy, you got a window here. You can get the ball to this guy. Yeah, you can do it. It's an interception. And Hurts let it rip. Trayvon Diggs jumped the route, came up with a great play. I hate tipping the cap to the opponent because I always like to focus on, no, you be better. Forget about how good the opponent, you be better. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs made a fantastic play on that. But Jalen Hurts had a great way to handle that. This is him after the game talking about the way that went down. And also having Grant Calcaterra open on that play also. Here's Jalen Hurts breaking down that interception.
I had him. Knew exactly what they were going to do. Had a good eye for it. The 7 just made a hell of a play. And much respect to him making a hell of a play. Tried to fit it in there. Could have got outside to Grant. Actually told Grant that was going to happen, and I didn't pull the trigger on it. So I own it. And I own the fumble as well. And it'll be an opportunity for us to grow from it. I'll learn from it as well.
On the touchdown to Dallas.
The accountability from Jalen Hurts yesterday after the game. Wasn't even asked about the fumble. Only asked about the interception. References, I'll own the fumble too. Later gets asked about the fumble. But also not just to take responsibility for throwing the interception, but also to go up to Grant Calcaterra and be like, I had you. I missed you. I got you next time. It's really amazing. And I'll jump right to this. So it's later in the game. Jalen Hurts has the fumble, unfortunately, with Parsons. If you're going to get picked off, Trayvon Diggs, he's going to pick you off. If you're going to fumble, Micah Parsons is probably going to make you fumble. Those are two very good football players, obviously. But Jalen Hurts after the fumble, and credit to Martin Frank of the Delco Times, who caught this. Jalen Hurts went over to the bench and started shaking everybody's hand after the fumble. Listen to this. This is Jalen Hurts after the fumble.
After the fumble, you kind of went up and down the bench, like shaking everybody's hand.
You saw that?
What's that?
So you saw that?
I did, yes. So, I mean, what was that? What was kind of going through your mind in the moment? Like, were you trying to tell these guys, like, keep your head in there and, everything, and I'll own it?
No, I think it's just we're in it together, and I have, zero pride or anything involved in owning my mistakes. And so I made a mistake, and it hurt the team, but I was thankful for they had my back, and more so the defense and how they responded and how they played and just the conversations we have. And I think that's something that starts in the middle of the week, not even on Sundays, but we know that it takes all of us. And then obviously everyone, offensively just knowing we're just going to keep pressing and keep moving forward, keep staying with it, keep throwing punches.
So they have that fumble. Dallas gets the ball. They face a 3rd and 3. Darius Slay ends up getting called for a pass interference. 4th and 1, you have the quarterback sneak by Cooper Rush. They're starting to drive the ball really damn well. 13 plays, 76 yards. They get down in the red zone. They hand the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. Vaughn, CJ GJ come in to force the fumble. This is an opportunity where the Dallas scores. They go up 10-7. You're losing to Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys, folks, in large part thanks to the fumble and the interception from Jalen Hurts. And then Cooper DeJean scoops up that fumble in the end zone, and the Eagles get the ball back. Not too bad. After that is it would have been thanks to the interception. And then after that, that's where Jalen Hurts fumbled the football. Eagles get the ball back before halftime. They march down the field. They get a nice play from A.J. Brown. He has a 14-yard reception, an 18-yard reception, and then Dallas Goedert gets the touchdown before halftime. So you go up 14-6. Instead of being down 10-7, the Eagles handle their business and they take a 14-6 halftime lead. I'll take that. Also, Jalen Carter coming up with a big stop there on that field goal drive for the Cowboys. That was also good to see. Quentin Mitchell had a good pass breakup right before the half as well to keep things at 14-6, so that was good. And then the second half, the Eagles just dominated. Absolutely dominated. They go 3 and out to start things off, but then the defense responds again as they did throughout the entire first half. They get Dallas to go through a 3 and out. Then Cooper DeJean has a big punt return of 31 yards in that second quarter. Kenny Gainwell breaks off a 14-yard run, and it's capped off on a 7-play, 37-yard drive, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to Johnny Wilson. I felt so bad for Johnny Wilson last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars when he had his first career touchdown taken away thanks to a offensive pass interference call. I still call it hogwash. But with that touchdown, they went up 21-6. Defense faces another 3 and out. Our defense forces another 3 and out. Eagles get the ball back. 44-yard play to A.J. Brown. Hurts ends up scampering in for the touchdown. Barkley had 30 yards on the drive. They go up 28-6. And they just kept pouring it on after that. They got a couple of field goals there in the fourth quarter. And this entire game, especially in that second half, it just felt like the Eagles were doing exactly what they were supposed to do. Little adversity early, and then in the fourth quarter, I'll say it again, in the fourth quarter, they did exactly what I wanted them to do, what we all wanted them to do, which is rest. And if there's one number, now the obvious is 34-6. The score is the most important number. But right after that, if there's one number, the number is 15. Saquon Barkley had 15 touches yesterday. This is a guy that's on pace for 334 carries, 375 touches on the season. And you're talking about 15 touches yesterday. Whatever gets him as fresh as possible for this game coming up immediately Thursday night. Like, what's next? Like, oh, yeah, don't play Sunday, and then don't play Monday Night Football. After the game, Jalen Hurts, who always talks about the 24-hour rule, enjoying a game for 24 hours, said it's going to be a little bit more of an expedited process. Jalen Hurts asked after the game, so how soon until you start thinking about Washington?
Yeah, well, I watched the tape on the plane, and meet with the coaches briefly on the plane and dive through it, process it, and then as soon as we lay foot back in Philadelphia, it's over. We're moving on. Usually you put a 24-hour rule on it. I do. But it's obviously something that would be lessened and brief. So we'll get going.
I can't tell you how much I hate Thursday Night Football. I really hate it. I was having some conversations yesterday with Derek Gunn and Ray Dinger. And the feeling is that the NFL wants to go to a 20-week schedule. I know they just expanded the schedule. I have no doubt they'll do it again. I still think they're going to have a division over in England, in Europe, I don't know, somewhere, probably England. And this NFL landscape is going to change drastically. I have a feeling I was telling a lot of people even well before it was 17 games that they're going to expand to 17 games and they're going to go to 18-game schedule or 18-week schedule. And now Roger Goodell's going to take that even further, I would say within the next handful of years. If that happens, I would assume Thursday Night Football would have to go away. I think that would have to be something that the Players Association would say. All right, you want to do 2 more games on the schedule? Okay. 2 bye weeks and no Thursday Night Football. It's probably a battle that the Players Association would lose because they're making money with them primetime games. But they'd have to work out something better than, for instance, the Eagles playing in Dallas then essentially getting 2 nights of sleep and then playing again on Thursday. That just ain't right. And the game that really haunts me, by the way, is actually a Cowboys-Eagles game. Odell Beckham Jr.'s miraculous catch against the Cowboys in the Meadowlands was a Sunday night game. I was there. I was at that game. And I remember he makes that catch. Cowboys lose. They got to get on a flight. The Cowboys then have to get on a flight Sunday night. They have to fly back to Philadelphia. Now, the Eagles didn't just play Sunday night, like Sunday Night Football. They played at 4:25, obviously, but still very similar. The Cowboys then went home, had Tuesday and Wednesday, and then played the Eagles on Thanksgiving, led by Mark Sanchez. And the Cowboys got their doors blown off in that game. That's the game that haunts me when I think about quick turnaround for a Thursday game. Hopefully the Eagles will be up to that challenge. But already focusing on the Washington Commanders, as one would assume. Jalen Hurts, one more quote I want to get from the locker room here. Early in the season, things weren't looking so great for the Eagles. Early in the season, things weren't looking great. Saquon dropped the ball. There was a lot of conversation about whether or not against the Falcons they should have ran that play, whatever. I was all for it. He catches that ball, you win the game, it's over. He didn't, unfortunately. Tampa Bay, obviously, was an embarrassing loss. You went into the bye week. You had some bad things going on. Even after you come back from the bye week and you play the Browns and you win, the headline is Nick Sirianni's yelling at Eagles fans. So Saquon Barkley got asked the question about, after a rocky start, how have you guys settled in? And Saquon jumps the question like Trayvon Diggs jumps a route. Saquon said, whoa, I wouldn't say it's rocky. What does it say?
I wouldn't say it's rocky. I think you guys made it seem rocky. No offense. You guys are doing your job, but panic outside of the locker room kind of, it was from outside the locker room. It wasn't in here. We had no panic. We kind of treated it like the preseason games, to be honest. That was kind of the mindset. He was like, all right, we're done with preseason. Now let's go get things shaking.
And then the Eagles rattled off 5 wins in a row. And by the way, one of the best things Saquon said after the game, that was one of them, but one of the best things was that this Eagles offense hasn't even scratched the surface yet. This now 7-2 Eagles team that has won 5 in a row, whose defense is clicking on all cylinders. 3 of the 5 wins, they haven't allowed a touchdown, this Eagles defense. 3 out of the 5 wins, they haven't allowed a touchdown. The Eagles offense have put up 28 points against the Giants, 37 points against the Bengals, 28 points against the Jaguars, 34 points against the Cowboys in a game where Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons were back. And they still put up 34 points. Hot diggity damn. Yeah, this team is on fire right now. The Commanders, they had no picnic. They obviously lose first place by taking their loss yesterday in what was an absolute dogfight of a game for the Dallas Cowboys, for the Washington Commanders against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lose by a point, 28-7. But then they went home and they slept in their own beds. Soundly, I'm sure. It's going to be a rough one. I'm going to see how the rest of this week plays out, but I'm pretty excited about this game Thursday night. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, as we all know. In the early goings, the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. The first place Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. And again, I'll just say it one more time. Ho-hum, another 4-touchdown day by Jalen Hurts. Absolutely incredible. The Eagles, unfortunately, didn't get the one number that I was really hoping they would get to. I forget what they finished with yards-wise in this game, but I told you guys that if they got to 415 yards, it would be the most consecutive games a home team has allowed 415 yards. It would have been 6. I believe it was halted at 5 yesterday. Eagles also got some good field position in this one. 348. What an off day for the Eagles. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $20 off your first purchase. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Tickets, comedy show, concert, Eagles game, Sixers game, Joel Embiid's debut for this season coming up this week. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, and use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. What time is it? Game time. Let's get into the chat check today. I apologize again, abbreviated show. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Sean Gillespie, good morning. How about Tim Boys? Man called David, what's popping? Real RMP, belt to ass victory. They whipped that ass. Why Niners? Why? What's going on? I'm awake. Are you? What's going on? Who would you sign, Farzy, if you could only pick one? Bond or Milton Williams? Wow. Bond. I love Milton Williams, but Bond. Jalen Carter's an absolute beast. He is. I think this is the Jalen Carter we can expect now. From now on, the guy just dominate the middle of that line of scrimmage. So they'll have more of a need down the line for a linebacker. So I'd rather just take care of that right now with Zach Bond. Sean Kilray, what's going on? Shockingly, Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni now 9th in the NFL history, passing George Halas all time with a 683 winning percentage. That is amazing, Sean. Don't get me wrong. But winning percentages can be very fluid. How about let's just go with that Super Bowl? Sean Sirianni has a record of 41-19 as Phillies coach, ahead of Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, and that's amazing. And Paul Brown. Hopefully Howie can sign both. I agree. Sean Kilray, we said for 33 or more points win than Jerry World. There you go. Sean Gillespie, that stats are ridiculous. That idiot writing backs of good coordinators. Easily Bond, says Scott, in his opinion. Jalen Carter flopping, now a personal foul. I know, right, Tate? That's ridiculous. Mylotta might be back Thursday, by the way. Mylotta might be back Thursday. Bobby Chong, what's going on? Go Birds. Folks, sorry to cut it short today. Got to get over to Fox. Appreciate it. I started late today. I'm a jerk. I apologize. Have a great rest of your day, though. Go Birds on this Dallas Victory Monday. See you guys tomorrow morning. Bye.